Hello and welcome to the City of Reading CRIZ Business Reporting Training. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch and listen today. The purpose of this training is to explain the state and local tax reporting requirements to businesses located in the CRIZ. So what is a CRIZ? The CRIZ stands for City Revitalization and Improvement Zone Program, which was established by Pennsylvania law in 2013 and is designed to stimulate economic development and job creation within designated zones. These zones capture and reinvest state and local taxes generated within them to support various economic development projects. The program's purpose is to revitalize urban areas by encouraging private investment, business growth, and community redevelopment. CRIZ zones can encompass up to 130 acres and are selected based on their potential to generate significant economic improvements. Taxes captured within these zones are utilized to pay the debt service on new construction, renovation of existing buildings, and infrastructure improvements. The City of Reading was approved for the CRIZ program in December of 2024 by Governor Shapiro. It is important to note that the CRIZ is not a grant. CRIZ funding is qualified tax dollars that properties produce when they open business new to Pennsylvania on a CRIZ property or expand existing Pennsylvania businesses on a CRIZ property. This increase in qualified tax dollars is returned to the CRIZ Authority. The CRIZ Authority is the governing board of the CRIZ on an annual basis after CRIZ properties report their qualified taxes to the state. So in the previous slide, we mentioned the word qualified tax. Businesses and property owners operating as a business located in the CRIZ are required to file annual reports on the amount of qualified taxes generated by their business during the previous tax year. So what is qualified tax? Well, qualified taxes, as defined by the Pennsylvania CRIZ law, include the following: corporate net income tax, amusement tax, sales and use tax and hotel occupancy tax, personal income tax, local services tax, earned income tax, and tax paid to the Commonwealth on the sale of liquor, wine, or malt or brewed beverages in the zone. Here's a map that shows where the CRIZ designated properties are located. This map and a spreadsheet with specific CRIZ addresses can be found on the City of Reading CRIZ website. If you want to confirm if your property is located in one of the CRIZ zones, please email CRIZ, C-R-I-Z, at readingpa.gov. So how will the CRIZ benefit the residents in the region? Well, the CRIZ will revitalize the community by redeveloping the buildings with retail, restaurant, office space, and residential uses. The CRIZ will encourage developers to invest in undeveloped and underdeveloped sites. The CRIZ will support existing businesses and attract new businesses. And the CRIZ will also create and retain jobs. This will result in an increased tax revenue to support public services, increase property values, and result in a better quality of life for the residents and the region. If you are a business owner in the CRIZ, you have the following reporting responsibilities. The CRIZ law requires business owners to report the qualified taxes the business paid the previous year by June 15th each year. This is a very important requirement. By June 15th, 2025, you must submit a local and state tax report. This is not a method for paying taxes. It is just an informational report on the taxes that your business paid in 2024. An accounting firm was hired to assist you with completing the state and local tax report at no charge to you. To schedule an appointment with the accountant, email criz@readingpa.gov. You are not required to use the accountant, and you can complete the tax report using the instructions found on the city's website. A non-compliance penalty will be issued for failure to complete the state and city tax report by June 15th, 2025.
My name is Darian Allen with RLB Advisors. The CRIZ Authority has hired us to assist in the education and the reporting for the CRIZ. As Shannon had previously mentioned, there are no new taxes that are being paid. This is strictly an informational reporting. The tax reporting is due June 15th with no extensions. And there are two different filings. There is a state and a local filing. So let's start with the state filing first. The state filing is strictly online, so you must go to the website listed on the left side of the slide. Make sure that when you go to Keystone that you're getting the right one. PA does have multiple Keystone logins, but make sure it has the NIS CRIZ in the verbiage as listed on the left. When you create a user ID, this user ID can be used to file multiple reports. If you have multiple qualified businesses, every qualified business will have its own separate state filing. So every EIN that's functioning inside of the CRIZ will have its own report. So you can register to create an account, or you can key in one if you already have it. If you would like to use us or your accountant to do the filing, you won't have to do this step. They will take care of that for you. Next slide, please. The top part of the slide has the basic demographics of the reporting year is 2024. These reports are based on a cash basis for the 2024 calendar year. So all reports will start with 24. The location number is going to be 1. Unless you have multiple CRIZ locations, you will just have one location there. The legal name should be your tax legal name of the entity, and the CRIZ city will be Reading. There are multiple cities in Pennsylvania that have the CRIZ program, so make sure you are filing under the city of Reading. The EIN is listed at the top as well. When you key these first fields in, make sure you do so correctly, because when you go to the next screen, you will see that you will not be able to edit them. That's why they're a little gray as opposed to the other fields here. If you do mess up and you need to create another report, that's fine. Go just cancel it, start a new report. The report that you started will not get submitted and will not hinder or hurt. Part 1 has some basic identification information, such as the date of first operation in the CRIZ. This is the date that you started working in the CRIZ. If you only have one business and that business started in the CRIZ, then the start date of the CRIZ and the start date in PA will be the same date. But if you had a previous business or you moved into the CRIZ, we are looking for the date that you started operation in the CRIZ. The telephone number is just your contact information, so anyone with questions can contact you. Number of locations of Pennsylvania. We are looking to see if you have a retail outlet and have 2 or 3 stores. How many total do you have in the state of Pennsylvania? You know, this may be one for many of you. However, it could be multiple numbers. The trade name field is if you have a DBA. We'd like to have that information. The contact section. This is for the tax matters contact. It would be whoever is preparing the form for you, or your accountant, or it will be the tax matters member of the entity. So again, we can contact if there's any questions. The mailing address is your actual mailing address. This may or may not be located in the CRIZ. This is so that the city or the state can send you notice or questions. They can contact you there. So do make sure that is a true mailing address. The CRIZ address. This is the actual location in the CRIZ. And as mentioned, there is a listing of every parcel in the CRIZ. You saw the map on the previous slides. So this should be that address. If you do have multiple addresses in the CRIZ, then you can list on the separate state reports. The address type is street and job. The street is for every tenant or landowner. The job would only be for a contractor. So most of you completing this for the first year will just have the street selected. The bottom section here is some information that the state's trying to gather so that they can see the progress of the program. The first field is the total wages and salaries for the employees in the business, and this is for the 2024 year. So it's just the total PA gross wages. The next field below that is the number of new jobs in 2024. So if you did not have any new positions available to you in 2024 in your job, you can just have a 0. If you had 2 people leave and 2 people came on, no new jobs were created, that would just be a 0. But if you expanded and you grew, you would list the new positions. The total private capital investment is related to qualified projects in the CRIZ. For the 2024 year, there were none, so this will be 0 across the board. But as the program changes in the future, if you do have part of a qualified project, this will be the 20% component that you're contributing to it. Next slide, please. The apportionment section under Part 2. This is only relevant to 3 taxes: the corporate net income tax, the bank shares tax, or the insurance premiums tax. If you're not a C Corp and file an RCT 101, you will not have the corporate net income tax. If you are not an actual bank, you will not have the bank shares tax. And if you're not the insurance broker, you will not have the insurance premiums tax. So if those are not applicable to you, this whole section can be skipped. If this is applicable to you and you do have corporate net income, bank shares, or insurance premiums tax, then you have to first start with the property, payroll, and sales factors. Those are the standard 3-factor apportionments. What we're trying to identify is what amount do you have within the CRIZ as compared to Pennsylvania. So for property, this will be the total cost of your property, typically taken off of your balance sheet, how much is in the CRIZ as opposed to Pennsylvania. And again, if you just have one location, they will be the same number. If you have multiple locations in Pennsylvania, then you would see a disparity. The payroll is the gross PA payroll. It would be the same gross number that was on the previous slide. We're looking for the total amount in the CRIZ as compared to Pennsylvania. And the sales, this is total gross sales. Again, right off your tax return. If you have one location, they will be the same amount. Otherwise, you could have a difference. The light gray shaded fields on the right are automatically calculated. So the total apportionment percent is a calculation which flows to the bottom of the screen. Under the tax percentage row, they would flow in. And if you did have corporate net income tax or the bank shares or insurance premiums, you would key in the actual tax payments made in 2024 in the bottom section at the total tax payments made. Again, this is cash payments for the 2024 calendar year. Doesn't matter what year the tax payments are applicable to. They could be extension payments or tax due or estimates. As long as the check was written or the ACH occurred in 2024, you would list the amounts here. Next page, please. The calculated tax times the apportionment flows into these fields. That's why the top section is gray. They flow from the prior page. This page has 2 columns, column A and column B. Column A is the total amount of taxes paid for the state of Pennsylvania. Column B is specific to the locations inside the CRIZ. For the sales use and hotel occupancy tax, these are the sales and use tax that you collect and remit on a monthly basis, quarterly or annual. If you have a retail or you have a restaurant, you're always collecting sales tax every time someone's making a purchase. You're reporting those sales tax through MyPath. This is where you would report that information. Remember that this is a cash basis. So your taxes from December 23 through November of 24 would be reported in the 2024 calendar year. You would put the total amount paid in column A, and if you had multiple locations, just the amount applicable to the CRIZ location in column B. The employer withholding relates to the 3.07% for your paychecks. This is what the state withholds. You can get this information right off your year-end payroll reports or possibly a W-3. Again, column A is the total amount remitted to the state for all locations, and then column B is specific to the location within the CRIZ. And if you have any of the liquor, malt, beverage tax charged by a brewer or a distiller, you can put that information in here as well. Again, column A for the state, column B for CRIZ specific. Next page, please. The business income statement is for all pass-through entities. So this would include S Corps, partnerships, LLPs, LLCs, sole proprietors. All of those are going to be considered pass-through entities. So since the entity itself does not have any direct taxes to be paid, that income flows down to the individual. The individual receives an RK1 from the PA20S, the entity's tax filing. and then they report that tax on their PA-40, their personal income tax return. That's why in this section, the first column is your Social Security number, because all of the taxes paid here would be what you pay personally on your PA-40. So what we're looking for is if you had income in your business, then you would list the owners' socials in the first column, their percentage of ownership in the second column, and the total income for all locations within Pennsylvania in the third column. Now, the next three columns, you're looking for the taxes paid to Pennsylvania related to all locations is in the fourth column. Then it breaks down to just the CRIZ component. So how much income on the fifth column specific to the CRIZ, and the last column is how much of those taxes were related to the income in the CRIZ. This is typically the 3.07% is the income tax rate for Pennsylvania that you would apply to the income that's being allocated. This is only applicable if you had income. If you reported losses in your business, then this would be zeros. And as this is cash basis, you're looking at the 2023 tax returns of the businesses as they would produce an RK1 that would have been reported on your tax return that you personally filed with a April 15th, 25 due date. So that is the, April 25th, April 15th, 24 due date. So it's the 23 income from the businesses that pass down to your 23 tax return that you paid in 24. The bottom flows in, that's the gray fields that calculated from above. Next page, please. The sales and use tax on tangible personal property. This is for purchases that you made for supplies, furniture and fixtures, equipment for your business. When you went to the Home Depot or Office Max, Staples, wherever you get supplies from, you make purchases, you pay sales tax, a 6% sales tax. If that is applicable to you, the state is looking for a listing of the receipt number, the date of invoice, the purchase price, and the total sales and use tax paid on that. And they would like that listed for each invoice. Understanding that this could be a large task, the state will accept that if you have a spreadsheet, that you list those 4 columns in the spreadsheet. You can just say see attached and put the totals in, and then you can supply the state with that spreadsheet. They do not need to see copies of invoices, but at the bottom of the screen, you do see that they have the right to audit the invoices that you list. Now, sales tax for utilities cannot be included. The state specifically excludes that as well as for vehicles. So this would be for pest control. If you had purchases of equipment, fixed assets, those kind of items you would list here. Next page, please. The local report is not online. This is a PDF or paper report. You can obtain a copy of the local report from the CRIZ Reading website, which we'll have at the end of the slides. So you can download it into a fillable form, or you can print out a copy and fill it out in paper. And the location where it gets submitted is at the back of the return. So this one is not online. This is a paper filing, also due on June 15th. Next slide, please. For the local report, if you do have multiple locations and you have multiple properties within the CRIZ, you can file one report per entity, and at the back of the report, you can list an addendum or a schedule that shows the different parcels or properties you have within the CRIZ. Whereas the state requires one for each, the local, we can accept a single report with just an addendum showing the different properties. The first section is very similar to what you saw for the state, your entity's legal name, the DBA, and the address within the CRIZ. We're looking for the specific address of the property in the CRIZ. And underneath is the parcel identification number, often referred to as the PIN. This is a large number that you can find on your real estate tax invoices. This helps to confirm that we have the right parcel that's located within the CRIZ. And we're looking for the date that the business existed, yes or no, was it pre-2024? And if not, we're looking for the date that the business actually started within the CRIZ. The section 2 is just basic information of your federal EIN number. The PA employer withholding number would come right off your PA reports, your quarterly payroll reports. and the business privilege license number. If you did register with the city and you have a $55 annual license fee or pay the business privilege tax, you would be able to find that number there. Next page, please. The contact information is the same contact as on the state. We're looking for whoever we can reach out to if there's questions on the filings. The business information is looking for a specific, very concise list of what your business is. Are you a retail? Are you a restaurant? Are you a landowner? Are you a holding company? Just a quick explanation of what your business is so we have an idea of what taxes to associate with it. Next page, please. The local earned income tax, this is the 3.6% tax that is being withheld for the city of Reading for residents. Column A is looking for the total amount that you paid to the city of Reading. If you have multiple locations, we're only looking for the amount that was for the CRIZ location, EIT paid to the city of Reading. If they have different localities that it got paid to, please do not include that. This is strictly for the city of Reading. And for your CRIZ location, it needs to get broken down a little bit further of, are your employees residents of the city of Reading or non-residents? Column B is where you fill in the EIT paid for the residents, and column C is the EIT that you paid for the non-residents. You can get that by looking at the employees' addresses or the PSD code, the Pennsylvania School District code for the city of Reading. Next page, please. The local services tax is the $1 a week, $52 per year per employee tax. This is based on where the employee works, not where they live. So if you have multiple locations, the LST paid for the CRIZ location would be the same as A in column B. If you do have multiple locations in Reading, but only one in the CRIZ, you may have two different numbers there. But if you only have the one location you're reporting off of, they will be the same. Again, this is based on where they work, not where they live, and the numbers can come right off your year-end payroll reports. Next page, please. The business privilege tax is a gross sales tax. So if you signed up for the city of Reading and you registered, you should have this as an annual payment that you owe in April 15th. It's based on your gross receipts. Typically, you have to supply a copy of the Schedule C or your 1120S or 1065 to substantiate that. That doesn't go with this. That's what you would submit to the city to calculate the tax. We're looking for the total business privilege tax paid for the city of Reading in column A, and then those locations specific within the CRIZ in column B. So again, if you only have the one, they will be the same number, but if you do have multiple locations and only somewhere in the CRIZ, somewhere out, you could have different amounts. Next page, please. So this is the contact information that you have. I, again, am with RLB Accountants, RLB Advisors. Our contact information is on the right. You can email us at criz@rlbaccountants.com, or you can call us. If you have any questions about the tax filings, how to complete the forms, if you're doing this on your own or you would like us to assist, as mentioned, we are being paid by the City of Reading, the CRIZ Authority, to assist in this program, so our services are at no cost to yourself to help with the compliance. You are more than welcome to do it on your own or have your own accountants do it. That's absolutely fine. We just want to make sure it's done. There is a penalty for non-compliance. We want to try and avoid that by making sure that everyone can comply. If you have questions about the CRIZ program, you can contact criz@readingpa.gov, and the phone number is on the left, and the website where you can find the local return as well as the listing of the CRIZ parcels is listed here. We appreciate your time today and thank you for your interest. Please reach out with questions, and remember the deadline is June 15th. Thank you.